So I'm here today at the show kitchen, looking forward to enjoying some of the cuisine from the executive chef here today, as well as getting some tips on how to prepare shellfish and some tips on some dishes that he and the sous chefs are working on for us today. If you have not had a chance to come down to Sawgrass Grove to take a look at the show kitchen, is something that you may want to do if, you know, culinary skills and arts and you have any interest in that area. So let's take a look.
My name is Scott Copeland. I'm the chef here at the show kitchen. You need to come down and check it out. It's a great time, even if you don't like to cook. Come in and have a nice lunch. We change up our menu every class, so you get different types of cuisine every time you come in. And for those of you who are foodies that like to cook, you get all the recipes. And if you ever need any advice, you can come and talk to us between classes and we'll help you out with cooking.
I'm with Brianna this morning. I'm trying something new. It's called the Show Kitchen. Brianna, tell folks a little bit about what they can expect.
I mean, you get a 4-course meal, you get unlimited wine or beer. It's a great time. You get to talk and, you know, one-on-one with the chef and, you know, learn all, like, how to cook all these recipes and have some great food and a good time.
You heard it here first. Let's see. Let's check it out. Thanks. Are at Sawgrass Grove and we're getting ready to have some fun in the show kitchen. And as you can see, we're right inside of Sawgrass. And if you've been to the area, of course, you know the area behind me. However, the show kitchen is located behind this wall of windows. So if you want to check it out, it looks like it's going to be fun. We'll see you in a little bit. Well, I've had a chance to take a look at the beginning stages of the show kitchen, and it looks really nice. You'll have an opportunity to not only see the preparation of the food, but also to obviously enjoy the food yourself. And there's different events that offer pairings, there's different tastings, there's executive chefs, different executive chefs that will come in from time to time as well. So if you're like me and wasn't aware that this was something that we could do here in the villages, check it out and take a look at this video. Let me know what you think.
Prince Edward Island, Canada, all the way up on the east coast above Maine. So the way these are grown, they're farm raised. So these, you'll see when we go through our, when I show you our clams. So these are not on the ocean bed. They're on pilings. You ever seen like the big wooden telephone poles basically in the water? That's what they grow on. So, hey Scott, how do they stay on that island? Okay, so see that little piece right there? Yeah. This is called the beard. Okay? This is what clings on to that piling. Now, it doesn't taste good, so we need to de-beard it. Most of the time, like you see, it's an easy, pull it off. It comes off really easy. Sometimes, then we'll be adding our ginger and our garlic. So that's going to be sauteed for maybe 45 to 60 seconds. That's it. If you go any longer than that, it's going to start to it'll start to burn a little bit, and it'll make your sauce bitter. So, you know, we want to saute a little bit. We want to cook it down. We want to kind of round out that flavor, but we don't want to burn it. The next thing we're going to add is our tomato paste. That we're going to let go and caramelize that a little bit. Do you see this already, or am I standing in the way? Okay. It's a little easier for me to stand here and do it as long as you guys can see what I'm doing. So we want to caramelize this tomato paste. What that does is drawing out the natural sugars. And you can see right here, we're getting a little bit, we're starting to get a little bit deeper color. Keep a little water by your side here. Add it in there, it'll kind of break that up a little bit. Adding water before it burns will save your sauce. If you let it burn and then you add your coconut milk to it, and you start scraping it as you're cooking that, all that carbon from the burning is going to come off the pan, and it's going to infuse into your sauce, and it's going to taste like carbon. So I do that also with when I'm sauteing onions, when I'm doing like caramelized onions, to get that nice, deep, round caramelized flavor and look to it. Your pan sometimes is going to burn a little bit. You're going to be playing around with the heat a little bit. So this here, you can use powdered curry powder, which is fine. But one thing that I would recommend, if you're using curry powder, we want to bloom the curry. So what that means is we want to kind of cook it before we get it in the liquid. We want to cook it a little bit. That helps develop the flavors. Even when you see, like when you have whole spices, you know, they say, oh, before you grind them up, throw them in a dry saute pan and, you know, heat them up a little bit. What you're doing is you're drawing the oils out of that seed or to get the maximum amount of flavor. Because what happens is you get these whole spices, whether at the store, they've been at the store for a while, or they've been sitting in your pantry for a while, they get old, the flavor, you start to lose the flavor a little bit. When you get them in a dry saute pan, that kind of brings out the oils a little bit, so you get a little bit more flavor out of it. So, but with this one here, we're going to be using this S&B curry. So the way this comes, and I'll just that's at Publix. Yeah, if you go into the international section, So it's basically a solid block. Yes.
So what is the difference between, like, when I go to the store, I see yellow, I see green, I see the block?
Yes. Okay, so she's asking what's the difference between, like, you got red curry, you got green curry, you got yellow curry. So across the board, there will be similar ingredients in all of those, but there are different ingredients also in order to get that red, yellow, or green. Also, it's from different regions also. So the same thing, like for example, over here at the butcher shop, they sell Iberico ham. So Iberico ham is from Spain. It's grown. The pigs are raised in a certain region in Spain. They're fed a specific diet. All their diet consists of acorns, and that's it. So it gives it a certain flavor profile, distinctive to that region, to that type of pig. Same thing with this. Different regions, they use different peppers, they use different spices. It's, you know, it all depends kind of what's in the region that they're in. So when you go from region to region in India, it is reliant upon what's the availability, and there's certain ingredients that aren't available. So also heat. Heat is definitely a big thing. The peppers that they use will determine how hot they are. So this is the one that I'm using here. This is a hot curry. The one that we used, it was a mild one. There wasn't really any heat to it. I mean, I don't think anybody really got much heat out of it. Yeah. So we're going to start off with our ingredients here. So our onions are like a brunoise cut, so that's a really small dice. So that's the first ingredient that we're going to add. Then we'll be adding our ginger and our garlic. So that's going to be sauteed for maybe 45 to 60 seconds. That's it. You go any longer than that, it's going to start to it'll start to burn a little bit, and it'll make your sauce bitter. So, you know, we want to saute it a little bit. We want to cook it down. We want to kind of round out that flavor, but we don't want to burn it. The next thing we're going to add is our tomato paste. That we're going to let go and caramelize that a little bit. Do we see this already? I'm going to stand it in the way. Okay. It's a little easier for me to stand here and do it as long as you guys know what I'm doing. So we want to caramelize this tomato paste. What that does is drawing out the natural sugars. And you can see right here, we're getting a little bit, it's starting to get a little bit deeper color. Keep a little water by your side here. Add it in there, it'll kind of break that up a little bit. Adding water before it burns will save your sauce. If you let it burn and then you add your coconut milk to it, and you start scraping it as you're cooking that, all that carbon from the burning is going to come off the pan, and it's going to infuse into your sauce, and it's going to taste like carbon. So I do that also with when I'm sauteing onions, when I'm doing like caramelized onions, to get that nice, deep, brown caramelized flavor and look to it. Your pan sometimes is going to burn a little bit. You're going to be playing around with the heat a little bit. So if you keep some water there, that can save all that time and labor. You know, you're putting all this time and effort into making something going to burn. Oh yeah, yeah. you can pass that around to for everybody to see. All right. Across the board, there will be similar ingredients in all of those, but there are different ingredients also in order to get that red, yellow, or green. Also, it's from different regions also. So the same thing like, for example, over here at the butcher shop, they sell Iberico ham. So Iberico ham is from Spain. It's grown, the pigs are raised in a certain region in Spain. They're fed a specific diet. All their diet consists of acorns, and that's it. So it gives it a certain flavor profile, distinctive to that region, to that type of pig. Same thing with this. Different regions, they use different peppers, they use different spices. It's, you know, it all depends kind of what's in the region that we're in. So when you go from region to region in India, it is relying upon what's curry powder. We want to bloom the curry. So what that means is we want to kind of cook it before we get it in the liquid. We want to cook it a little bit. That helps develop the flavor. What we're going to do is with this dish, we're not going to saute and caramelize the garlic. We're gonna sweat them. So we're gonna cook the garlic, but we're not gonna brown them off. Browning off as opposed to sweating, two completely different flavor profiles. For this dish, you don't want to caramelize it, you just want to sweat it. While you're sweating that, you're also infusing that oil that you're going to be tossing across. So that's another reason why we want to sweat that sliced garlic. Quick pickup item. Literally, when you put mussels into a saute pan, a hot saute pan, like within a couple minutes, they're popping open. These clams, a little bit more stubborn. Takes a little bit longer. So if you're cooking, if you're steaming clams and you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on here? Why are they not popping open? It takes time. So depending upon how many you're cooking, you know, it can take 10, 12 minutes. Sometimes you'll see what'll happen is that they'll start to pop open a little bit. So maybe like a 1/4 of an inch it's open. You can, at that point, they are cooked. But sometimes you need a little persuasion to open. So you can always use like a pair of tongs or something and pop open the rest of the way. But if they're just open a little bit, it's not bad. It just needs a little persuasion. So we've got our garlic going. We're pouring water off on these clams here. At this point, I'm going to add my clams. Now, one thing that I've noticed is if you're cooking this at home, I would recommend kind of timing doing this. Let me grab another one of these pans. I would kind of time cooking your pasta with your clams, because what I would do is once that pasta's cooked, I'm pulling it right out. Thank you very much. I'm pulling that. And just with a pair of tongs, I'm pulling it right out of the water, because we're going to use some of that pasta water as a component of our sauce. it's that starchy water. You got some starchy water going on there. They'll kind of cling. That's one reason why, like, when we cook large batches of pasta, we don't like to run it underwater, cool it down. We'd rather put it out on a sheet tray and just spread it out to the next even layer and let it cool down that way. A little bit of oil on it so it doesn't stick. Because once you start cooling it down by running cold water on, you're rinsing all the starch off of it. The starch helps whatever sauce it is you're using adhere to the pasta. So if you rinse off your pasta to cool it down real fast, you're washing off that starch, so it's not gonna, that sauce won't cling to it as much as you want it to. You know, it can take 10, 12 minutes. Sometimes you'll see what'll happen is that they'll start to pop open a little bit, so maybe like 1/4 of an inch it's open. You can, at that point, they are cooked, but sometimes they need a little persuasion to open. So you can always use like a Now, one thing that I would do is if you're cooking this at home, I would recommend kind of timing doing this. Grab another one. I would kind of time cooking your pasta with the clams. Because what I would do is once that pasta's cooked, I'm pulling it right out. Thank you very much. I'm pulling that. And just with a pair of tongs, I'm pulling it right out of the water because we're going to use some of that pasta water as a component of our sauce. So I start off, boil half of this container, so that's about a cup and a quarter of sliced garlic cloves. So we're getting into that oil, using it. And it kind of caught me by surprise when I did my tasting. I sat out here, I don't know, like a month and a half ago with a rep from 15 Olives, and we did olive oil tasting. We've got like about four different olive oils that they produce. So I'm sitting over there, we're doing shots of olive oil, and they also do like different infused balsamic vinegars. And man, I'll tell you, this has got a finish on it, so you kind of get that fruitiness when you taste this a little bit too. Okay, so I tasted this olive oil, and it's got like the fruitiness, the forward fruitiness to it, but then it's got a peppery finish to it. So just be aware, you're going to get a little bit of a peppery finish to it. So you kind of caught me by surprise the first time. It's kind of like selling points of the induction burners is that it helps to evenly distribute the heat. Because sometimes what you'll see, you know, at home on your gas burner or electric burners, what have you, and the pans too, you'll get hot spots. So there'll be a spot in the pan where just everything's sticking to it, burning and all that. There is, you know, the saying, you get what you pay for. I'm a believer, especially like, you know, if you're cooking at home, if you're cooking, you know, and you really are like, hey, I eat to live, but I don't live to eat. Don't spend the money on the pans, but like if you like cooking at home, buying a quality pan makes a world of difference. My at home, I just started buying some pans. They're called Made In. And I've got like a cast iron pan, a non-stick, like a 12-inch non-stick pan, and like a 4-quart sauce pan, stainless steel. And during the week, my wife does the majority of the cooking, because if I was one to cook, everybody wouldn't be eating until like 8:30 at night. So I got these pans, and first she started using them. She's like, it's like, man, I'm like burning stuff. Then, like, you just gotta learn, you know, how they work. Really, get used to them and see how they work. And I came home one night and she had cooked like some skin on bone-in chicken thighs, and they're sitting on a platter in the kitchen, and it looked like I did. I mean, they were gorgeous, like nice and even brown on them. And I'm going, okay, so my 18-year-old, he likes to cook, so I'm like, honey, they do these? She's like, I'm offended. And I was like, what? She's like, I did them. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm like, those look gorgeous. She's like, you know what? It's the pans. I said, see? And they are, they really do, they make a difference.